Cumber, this is a very civil issue-oriented debate, but in the last few months, you have been hitting negative ads or been negative ads flying in this race. Your thoughts on how it went tonight versus what people have seen on the airwaves?
Yeah, I thought it was great, and I thought it was great for the people of Jacksonville to really understand where people stand on some of the issues. And look, me and my family were attacked on December 26th. And I found out the attack was happening when my kids came down and told me that there was a negative ad about me. And now they've spent almost $5 million assaulting me and my family. But look, we saw it today. Jacksonville deserves better. We absolutely deserve better. And if we are ever going to reach our potential, which I believe that we must and that we can, we have got to break through this old boys network that are trying to hold on to power. And that's why I'm fighting so hard for the people of Jacksonville. And I do want to say too that today I released a transparency pledge that says, among other things, and I think you all have it by now, or you will, that among other things, I'm going to do a press avail at least once a month, and hopefully more. I'm going to have the mayoral calendar online for everyone to look at so that you know where I am, what I'm doing. Make sure that none of my consultants or campaign team are going to be able to lobby the city or get jobs with the city. These are the things that people in Jacksonville really care about. So, First Coast News?
Something that was brought up was the stadium renovation.
Yeah.
And everyone was saying no new taxes, they represent the people. But in reality, as a mayor, you have to deal with Shad Khan, who obviously has great power and is important to this city. How do you deal with him when you have to represent the people at the same time?
I think we can do more than one thing at the same time. And so, like I said on stage, what's really important is that the taxpayers are represented in any negotiations, certainly negotiations for whatever we do with the Jaguars. And that part of what any ultimate deal would be to make sure that the Jaguars themselves have a lot of skin in the game, as it were, and that there is a long-term commitment. And so there are a lot of ways to kind of get there, but we certainly need to stop with the taxes in this city. It is just between, like I said, a sales tax, 2 sales taxes, a property tax increase, and then the doubling of the gas tax. And by the way, the doubling of the gas tax is something that I fought against, tried to repeal, and then tried to do a gas tax holiday, especially right now when people are having such a hard time with general affordability of groceries and gas. Something like that is really hurting people in Jacksonville, and so we really need to focus on it.
We talk about the gas tax, and you usually point to the Skyway, which,
Yes.
Nobody loves the Skyway. But the other thing that the gas tax goes for is the Emerald Trail, which does have much more popular support. Do you think the Emerald Trail is not something that the city needs?
I think the Emerald Trail is really beautiful, and what I did and the concept of it is really beautiful. And when we were debating the gas tax, the city was getting $343 million in additional COVID money. And just to be clear, we got $343 million of additional COVID money because we got $171 million for people who live in Jacksonville, 1 million people, and then we got $171 million for people who live in Duval, 1 million people. They double counted in DC. So we were getting this windfall. We got a windfall, and that windfall on top of the other COVID money was about $500 million in COVID money. So when we were debating the gas tax, the concept that I came up with was, let's take some of that COVID money, because at that point Congress had realized that they needed to take all the guardrails off of the money. Let's take some of it, create a trust fund for the Emerald Trail. So, and we could have done it, and I recommended not only creating a trust fund for the Emerald Trail so that you, just like our tree fund, it's an ever-growing and you can have it interest-bearing, and so we can pay for it in perpetuity and pay for the cost overruns. But I also recommended the same for septic tank removal, because that's something that we will be working on for a very long time. And so there are ways to do in ways to fund things, but instead, the administration and my opponent, Daniel Davis, fully supported the gas tax. They doubled the gas tax to spend upwards to $500 million on the Skyway that nobody uses. So there are ways that we can do what really help the city and help the quality of life in this city without having to deal with putting hundreds of millions of dollars of your money into the Skyway, which you yourself said nobody uses. So anyway, I saw the...
Right, when it comes to the Emerald Trail, like, you know, it goes through Lackawanna, it goes through Mixon Town, it goes
Yeah.
through parts of Durkeeville, like, but those are parts of town that have not been invested in for years, if not decades. So under a Mayor Cumber administration, how would your administration invest in those parts of town where the trail would flow, not specifically about the trail, but about investing where the trail is currently?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, look, we have to focus on, we've got to focus on infrastructure and basic infrastructure. And I've always said with the Emerald Trail is a perfect example, that we've got to focus on the neighborhoods the Emerald Trail goes through. Because otherwise, we're going to have this very kind of bifurcated situation where we have this beautiful trail, yet the neighborhoods surrounding it don't have the infrastructure. And when we talk about crime and this ever increasing crime rate, and one of the things that I would have loved to talk about is infrastructure is it's proven that if you fix infrastructure in neighborhoods, it helps reduce crime. Everything from lighting to potholes. And the reality of it is people aren't going to put good businesses. You're going to have the strip clubs, which I hope you all do a story tomorrow on the strip clubs and the age of 21 cutoff, because the sheriff's office is going to all the strip clubs tomorrow and enforcing my bill. But those are the kind of businesses that you end up getting, the internet cafes when they were legal and so forth, if we don't build up the sidewalks and the roads. So we need to do that rather than spending our money on these infrastructure projects that nobody uses. So thank you. Thank you all. Really appreciate you. Thanks.